If your driving test was right now in heavy rain, would you still pass? Well, I'm leaving the test centre right now. I'm going to show you a standard test route in the area that you'd have to follow even if the rain was like this. And let's face it, you're in the UK, so what are the chances that when you do your driving test, it is going to be raining? I'd say pretty high, what, 50-50? And it can be a bit of a shock if the rain's absolutely hammering it down. Going to end up with puddles that you're not used to puddles. Going to have to just adjust your driving slightly. So as we're leaving the test centre, we've come into our first junction. It says turn left only. I have actually had someone fail there because they got there and they asked the examiner, which way do I go? Blast them. That's what nerves do to us, you know. Of course they knew which way to go, just the nerves got the better of them and they weren't thinking straight. So at the roundabout, we're following the road ahead. It's much harder to see road markings in the rain, as you can see. Best thing you can do is slow down even more than usual, just so your brain has time to think. It's all about the time with driving. The more time you have, the more chance you have of not making a mistake. We all make mistakes. You're still going to make mistakes. It's trying to reduce them down to as little as possible, for one, and two, recovering from them on your own. That's it. Like I was speaking to a student today, they stalled. I tried to explain to them, how many different ways can you stall the car? There's at least 10 different ways you can stall a car. There's only one way you can fix it. It's not about the stalling, it's about fixing the stall safely and competently and independently on your own without the examiner having to help you. The examiner doesn't care that you stalled. The examiner doesn't care that you're nervous. The examiner just cares that you can deal with the situation on your own. Because one, you are going to have to drive when you're nervous, angry, upset, sad, hysterical, hopefully not hysterical, but you are going to end up driving in situations that you don't want to have to drive, and you have to learn to be able to do that under any condition, including rain, including sunshine, including the dark. It's about being able to do it and recover it on your own. That's what's important. And the other important thing is aiming to not have to stop the car. My favourite game, don't stop the car. Obviously don't compromise your driving for it, and I failed miserably there because I did have to stop the car. But sometimes it can't be helped. But that's your aim. Anytime you drive, you want to not have to stop the car. Now, I started this video with how to drive in heavy rain. And look, it's freaking stopped raining. As you can see, the road is soaking wet. Like, this has been heavy torrential rain. Puddles, rivers coming down the side, but it stopped raining. Still going to be very useful because
we are just going to take a short break in this video for this amber traffic light. Now guys, tell me, what do you think? Should I have gone through this light or should I have waited? Is this a pass or is this a fail? I've stopped it because it's a really common fail situation, going through amber lights or slamming the brakes on. It's trying to figure out the best decision. Let me know in the comments.
Where we go, I mean, look at that puddle there. Where we go, there is going to be water on the sides of the road, and you are going to have to learn to drive in that, know where to dodge the water, how to dodge the water safely, when to not dodge the water safely. They're really important parts of driving. All right, parked cars, central mirror, right mirror, moving out nice and early. And we're looking ahead. How far ahead should you be looking? You should be seeing those traffic lights down there at least, if not further. We've got a choice of two lanes. Which lane do we always choose? We're going to choose the left lane. Always choose the left lane unless you're planning to turn right or overtake. If you don't know if you're doing either of those, which lane do we assume? Left lane.
Just wanted to really reinforce this, guys. This is a big thing on the driving test. If you're on a driving test with the examiner is going to expect you to know that you should always choose the left lane if your lane splits. Therefore, if you don't choose a left lane, he's not going to tell you to get into the left lane. However, because he knows that you will assume the left lane, they will tell you if you need the right lane. Bit sexist there with the he's, but you get the drift. Choose the left lane unless you know otherwise.
And the thing is, the examiner's going to assume that you're going to know to use a left lane, so they're not going to tell you to use a left lane. But if you do need the right lane, they will tell you you need the right lane. Does that make sense? You can't go wrong if you use a left lane, but if you use the right lane, you can go very wrong. We're following signs for M6, that's a left at the roundabout, first exit. So central mirror, left mirror signal. Nice and early, does it matter? Is anyone going to think I'm going to go in the bus stop? No. Second gear clutch back up gives us control. See, the car's slowed down on its own. Lights are red, so I can slow down as much as I want. Not slowing anyone down behind me. Lights are red anyway, so it wouldn't matter. Really slowly. Now more than ever, I want to save fuel because it's just freaking doubled in price. And if I reduce my risk of stopping the car, I save fuel, it's more comfortable, but again, I'm not going to be able to avoid it there. I'm not having to change that much with my driving in the wet at the moment, just because, yeah, I'm in town, I'm not going quick anyway. There's traffic lights, there's no change. I'm doing 30 zones everywhere, so not having to change them. I'm slowing down nice and early at the roundabouts, which is good to do anyway. Space, lots of space at the roundabout, following the road ahead, keep my positioning. That's it. Any signs you've seen, guys? How early should you spot the sign? 50. That's the next really important sign. Anyone guess what I just did there? I may have just got myself a serious fault. Let me know if you spot what I did there at that 50 sign. Now, it's quite hard, but I'll give you a clue. I wasn't going 30. Okay, now at this roundabout, this is a big fail zone for people, okay? Because at the roundabout, we're heading towards Eccleshall, third exit. Now, including me in the past, people think that you can use the left lane to go, because it's a straight on. If you know the road, it seems more like a straight on. If you look at the sign, it looks like a right. You can't go straight on, you need the right lane. And if you try and go straight on using the left lane, if you try and go that third exit using the left lane, it's an automatic fail. So, past the second exit, then we check our mirrors, check there's nothing there, and change lanes. Lights are green, they've been green a while though, so I am prepared to stop if I need to. No, they stay green. I've got my left signal on, which means these guys can pull out, so that's really helpful. I'm on a 30 zone here, and we're off to see the wizard. Can you see the water on the side of the road? So ideally, when you get roads like this with water down the side, you want to try not have to drive. If you can avoid driving in them, do avoid it. Just water and wheels, they don't mix. They reduce friction, which means what's your wheel more likely to do? Well, spin and do things you don't want it to do. Now at this sort of speed, we should be fine. We should be absolutely A-okay. But we've got space to avoid it, so shall we avoid it? Yes. And also, we don't want to splash anyone that's next to us. Now, what sign have we seen? Did anyone see that? Because I was talking, so I might have missed it. There's another one, 50 miles per hour. And that's very important, because if I stay at 30 all the way down here, I'm going to start getting minors. Why? Because I'm going to delay all the traffic. There's no need to be doing 30 around here. It's safe to speed up. Now, people get very muddled with this sign here. They see that sign and think, I must slow down. Correct, if you're going near what the speed limit is. So for instance, if I was already at 50, I would want to slow down a bit for that sign. If I'm doing 30 or 35, I don't want to slow down for the sign because I've already slowed down. Does that make sense? If not, let me know in the comments. If this is helping, by the way, if you're still watching this at this point, subscribe. Have a look at what else is coming out, because I promise you it's going to help you pass your driving test. That's all this channel is about. How can I help you guys pass your driving test? And I've only got about 25% of people that actually watch this channel subscribed, so clearly I'm not asking enough. So I'm asking you, watch it. And if you want to know the fastest way to know if your driving test ready, okay, because this is the whole thing, everyone wants to know, am I ready for my driving test? I can promise you, in my experience, the best way is to do some independent driving, meaning driving on your own, following a sat nav, all right? It doesn't matter how you do it, just pick a destination. The easiest way is to just get yourself some sort of test route, and you can get a test route app. I've got one, Driving Test Expert, in the comments or in the description there. There's a free route for everywhere in the country, and it's not about learning the route, overtaking the cyclist. You speed up to overtake the cyclist. You don't stay at the same speed. Make sure you're a good doors width, 2 doors width from a cyclist. Get around them, speed up, don't stay in the danger zone for longer than you have to, then ease back off. People make the mistake of hovering and trying to stay really careful. No, because what's happening, what's coming the other way, cars are coming the other way, cars bad. You want to get out the danger zone as quickly and safely as possible. Yeah, you want to follow a route. It's very different when you follow a sat nav, because there's no reason for the person sitting next to you to open their mouth. Okay, when you're giving someone directions, even if it's following signs at the roundabout, I want you to follow signs for A34, you can't help but end up giving people hints about which lane to pick or whatever else, or they're asking about lanes. Where when you're following a sat nav, there is no reason to open your mouth, and it very quickly shows if someone can drive on their own or not. And if you can, that is a very good indicator that you are going to be ready for your driving test. But if you can't and you're needing help, it will very clearly show you what you need help with. So if you're with your instructor or you're someone driving with you, very good way. Now, 40 mile per hour zone here. And we are dry. Dry, dry, dry. Dry, dry, dry. How crazy is that? Does anyone know what that sign means there? That is a national speed limit sign. That means you can go anywhere up to 60 miles per hour on a single carriageway, meaning a single road. A dual carriageway is a road that has a barrier in the middle separating the left side from the right side. It's nothing to do with number of lanes. On a dual carriageway, you can go up to 70 miles per hour for a national speed limit sign. On a single carriageway, it's 60. Now on this road, it's quite windy, but it's also, you know, it's not the worst. You've got lines on the road, which means you can get your speed up. So you would probably be expected to get to about 50 or above in most areas of this road. Now I feel a bit more confident than you guys might. So I'm going about 57, plus I'm talking to you, 58. So, and there's a nice straight bit here. So that's it. Anytime you see a straight bit, get your speed up. Second it starts getting windy and bendy, ease back off. It's as simple as that. And always be looking out for signs and road markings. They're what's really going to help you. So you see this sign here? We've got a warning sign here. What's it showing us? Showing us as a left turn. It's not really relevant to me, but it is relevant in the fact that someone might be pulling out of there. And if I'm doing 60 miles per hour around the corner and someone pulls out, that's going to be a bad day. And that's the junction there. So it's just waking me up a bit. Someone could be pulling out of that junction. Be prepared. Now this is a really important one. More paint, more danger. You've got a sign warning left there, you've got a slow sign there, and you've got some sharp bend signs here. So that's a really good indicator, nice and early, coming off the gas, and maybe even some braking. Okay, so I'm down to 45 there. See, it didn't need to get right down to 20 or 30, but it did need to definitely get down from 60. Again, nice straight bit, so what can I do? Get my foot down, get my speed back up. Always focusing to keep your position between the curb and the line. What I mean is, don't focus on oncoming. When we learn to drive, our eyes automatically go for the danger. And when you stare at the object, and I mean focus on the objects coming at you, that's quite terrifying. I've had to brake a bit harder there because I nearly missed the 40 sign. See, you're trying to catch me out, you guys are. All right, so yeah, so it's always about looking, keeping your focus, your actual eyes, between the area you want to be. So the curb and the line, that's where my eyes are. I can see there's a car coming, but my focal point, you can only focus on one point, is not on the oncoming car. It's on the space ahead. Now we've got a roundabout coming. We're going to take the first exit ahead, dropping the gear early, clutch coming back up. And then we're going to take next road on the left. Central mirror, left mirror signal. And we are turning left down here. Central mirror, right mirror signal. We are turning into here. And then we're going to pull over on the left, central left mirror signal. There's no one actually around, so do I have to signal there? Let me know in the comments. Is it a must signal in every situation? Love to hear your thoughts, because it's a mixed opinion with this, very mixed. You know, I'm quite a firm believer in, if you signal for someone, you know, that's what the point of things are. And if there is no one around, there's no reason to signal. Who am I helping? As long as I'm checking my mirrors to make sure there's no one around, do I need to signal? Let me know. As I say, Free route in the description below if it's going to help you, if you're looking for somewhere to drive independently. I'm not a firm believer in learning the test routes inside and out. Helpful, great, but not the reason to go for your driving test. The reason to go for your driving test is to learn to drive independently. That's what it's about. Don't drive like a learner. The examiner wants to see you drive like a normal person. Let me know if that's helped and you want to see any more. Can't believe it stopped raining. Good luck. See you all soon.